Hello friends, I am Nivrati Jain, Assistant Professor at Department of Pharmaceutical Science, Adina Institute of Pharmaceutical Science, Sagar. Today we are going to learn about parasympatholytics and sympathomimetics, scripted for B Pharma 5th semester Pharmacology 1 Part 2nd by Dr. Bisal Jain, Assistant Professor, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, Chhattisgarh, and me. So let's have a general introduction about introduction of parasympatholytics, and we are going to learn in this informative episode. We will start this lecture with a general introduction of parasympatholytics, then classification of parasympatholytics, then pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of parasympatholytics. After that we will discuss about introduction of sympathomimetic, and at last, before ending the lecture, I will discuss about classification, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic of sympathomimetics. So let's start our today's lecture. Module 1, parasympatholytics or cholinergic blocking agent or anticholinergic drugs. The term anticholinergic drugs is restricted to those which block action of acetylcholine on autonomic effectors, and in this CNS exerted through muscarinic receptors. Though nicotinic receptor antagonists also block certain action of acetylcholine, they are generally referred to as ganglion blockers and neuromuscular blockers. Now the classification of parasympatholytics. It includes three categories. First is natural alkaloids. It includes atropine, hyoscine or scopolamine. Second category is semi-synthetic derivatives. It includes homatropine, atropine methonitrate, hyoscine butyl bromide, ipratropium bromide and tiotropium bromide. And the last category is synthetic compounds. It includes first category mydriatics, in which cyclopentolate, tropicamide, and another category is antisecretory, antispasmodics. It includes quaternary compounds like propenthalline, oxyphenonium, clidinium, pyrangyolate, methyl bromide, isopropamide, glycopyrrolate, tertiary amine, dicyclomine, balethamate and pyrangyepine. Next is basicoselective. It includes oxybutynine, flavoxate and tolterodine. And the last category is anti-Parkinsonian. It includes trihexyphenidyl or benzoxazole and procyclidine bipyridine. Now we will discuss about drug in detail. First of all, atropine. Atropine is a tertiary amine, belladonna alkaloid, competitive muscarinic receptor blocker, act both centrally and peripherally. Its general action lasts about 4 hours, except when placed topically in the eyes. Its action may last for 7 to 14 days. The greatest inhibitory effects are on bronchial tissue and secretion of sweat and saliva. Now, dicyclomine. It is a smooth muscle relaxant, irritable bowel syndrome, and it relieves muscle spasm and cramping in the gastrointestinal tract by blocking the activity of acetylcholine on cholinergic receptor on the surface of muscle cells. Now the next drug is hexamethonium. Hexamethonium is a ganglionic blocker. Hexamethonium is an receptor antagonist, act in autonomic ganglia, does not have any effect on muscarinic acetylcholine receptors. Hexamethonium act at receptor at neuromuscular junction responsible for skeletal muscle motor response. Now the next module, module 2, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of parasympatholytics. First of all, pharmacokinetics. The anti-muscarinic alkaloids are well absorbed after oral administration and are widely distributed in the body. Significant levels of alkaloid are achieved in CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, particularly of scopolamine, which has more effect on CNS than atropine. They also cross the placenta. Atropine has short half-life of about 4 hours and 60% of administered dose is excreted in urine in the unchanged form. Remaining is metabolized in liver. The effect of atropine at parasympathetic site decline rapidly except in eye, where its effect persists for 72 hours or longer. Scopolamine is mainly metabolized in liver. Only a small amount is excreted unchanged in urine. Atropine and hyoscine are rapidly absorbed from GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract, applied to eyes. They freely penetrate cornea. Passage across blood-brain barrier is somewhat restricted. About 50% of atropine is metabolized in liver and rest is excreted unchanged in urine. Hyoscine is more completely metabolized and has better blood-brain barrier penetration. Now, pharmacodynamics. Pharmacological action on the CNS. Atropine has an overall CNS stimulant action. However, these effects are not appreciable at low doses, which produce only peripheral effect because of restricted entry into the brain. Atropine stimulates many medullary centers, vagal, respiratory, vasomotor. It depresses vestibular excitation and has anti-motion sickness property by blocking the relative cholinergic overactivity in basal ganglia. Now, the action on the CVS. The most prominent effect of atropine is tachycardia, but it may also cause transient bradycardia. It shows minimal effects on circulation, cutaneous vasodilation in toxic doses. Now, the effect on the eyes, the autonomic control of iris muscle and the action of mydriatics as well as myotics. Now, the action on the smooth muscles. All visceral smooth muscles that receive parasympathetic motor innervation are relaxed by atropine. Now, the action on the glands. Atropine markedly decreases sweat, salivary, tracheobronchial and lacrimal secretion. Skin and eyes become dry. Talking and swallowing may be difficult. Now, the action on the GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract. Reduce salivary secretion, dryness of mouth, decrease the gastric acid secretion, reduce gastrointestinal motility. They have spasmolytic effect, produce constipation. Now, the effect on the body temperature. Rise in body temperature occur at higher dose. It is due to both inhibition of sweating as well as stimulation of temperature regulating center in the hypothalamus. Now, the local anesthetic effect of atropine. Atropine has a mild anesthetic action on the cornea. Now, the next topic is interaction of parasympatholytics. Anticholinestrases potentiate acetylcholine markedly, methacholine to less extent and have only additive action with carbachol or bithanecol. Depending on the role of cholinestrases in the termination of action of the particular choline ester, atropine and its congeners competitively antagonize muscarinic action. Now, the module 3rd, that is sympathomimetics or adrenergic drugs. Sympathomimetic drugs are stimulant compounds which mimic the effects of agonist of the sympathetic nervous system, such as the catecholamines, for example, epinephrine or adrenaline, norepinephrine or noradrenaline and dopamine etc. Adrenergic transmission. Adrenergic transmission is restricted to the sympathetic division of the ANS. There are three closely related catecholamine. First, noradrenaline. It acts as transmitter at postganglionic sympathetic site and in certain area of the brain. Second is adrenaline. It is secreted by adrenal medulla and may have a transmitter role in the brain. Third is dopamine. It is a major transmitter in basal ganglia, limbic system, CTZ, anterior pituitary, etc. and in a limited manner in the periphery. Now the synthesis, storage and metabolism of catecholamines. Catecholamines are synthesized from the amino acid phenylalanine as depicted in figure 1. Tyrosine hydroxylase is a specific and the rate limiting enzyme. Its inhibition by alpha methyl paratyrosine result in depletion of catecholamines. Dopa decarboxylase can form 5-HT or 5-hydroxytryptamine from 5-hydroxytryptophan and alpha-methyl dopamine from alpha-methyl dopa. Now the storage of catecholamines. Noradrenaline is stored in synaptic vesicles or granules within the adrenergic nerve terminal. The vascular membrane actively takes up dopamine from the cytoplasm and the final steps of synthesis of noradrenaline takes place inside the vesicle which contains dopamine beta hydroxylase. Noradrenaline is then stored as a complex with ATP in a ratio of 4:1 which is adsorbed on a protein chromogranin release of catecholamines. The nerve impulse coupled release of catecholamine take place by exocytosis and all the vesicular content like noradrenaline, adrenaline, ATP, dopamine, beta hydroxylase and chromogranin are poured out. Uptake of catecholamines. There are very efficient mechanism by which noradrenaline released from the nerve terminal is recaptured. This occur in two steps. First, axonal uptake and active amino pump, that is NET is present at the neuronal membrane which transport noradrenaline by a sodium coupled mechanism. It takes up noradrenaline at a higher rate than adrenaline and had been labeled uptake 1 vesicular uptake. The membrane of intracellular vesicles has another amine pump, the vesicular monoamine transporter, that is VMAT second, which transport catecholamine from the cytoplasm to the interior of the storage vesicles. Then the next is extraneuronal uptake. Uptake of catecholamine is carried out by extraneuronal amine transporter, that is ENT or OCT third, and other organic cation transporter, that is OCT1 and OCT2 into cells of other tissues. Now the metabolism of catecholamines. The pathway of metabolism are depicted in figure 2. Part of the noradrenaline leaking out from the vesicles into cytoplasm as well as that taken up by axonal transport is first attacked by monoamine oxidase, while that which diffuse into circulation is first acted upon by catechol O-methyl transferase, that is COMT, in liver and other tissue. We can see the metabolism of catecholamine in figure 2. Adrenaline and noradrenaline in the presence of MAO, that is monoamine oxidase, converted to DOPGAL, DOPGAL, and adrenaline and noradrenaline in the presence of COMT converted into metanephrine and normetanephrine respectively. These metanephrine and normetanephrine in the presence of MAO converted into 3-methoxy 4-hydroxy mandelic acid, that is VMA, and after that these metabolites conjugated by the glucuronic acid or sulfate. Here MAO is monoamine oxidase, COMT is catechol O-methyl transferase and BMA is vanillyl mandelic acid. Now the module 4, that is the classification of sympathomimetics. It include first category, direct sympathomimetics. They act directly as agonists on alpha and beta adrenoceptors, for example, adrenaline, noradrenaline, isoprenaline, phenylephrine, methoxamine, xylometazoline, and salbutamol. The next category is indirect sympathomimetics. They act on adrenergic neuron to release noradrenaline, which then acts on the adrenoceptor, for example, tyramine and amphetamine. And the last category is mixed action sympathomimetics. They act directly as well as indirectly, for example, ephedrine, dopamine, and mephentermine. Now we will discuss about sympathomimetics in detail. First drug is adrenaline, the prototypical sympathomimetic amine. Adrenaline is the key hormone involved in the body's fight or flight response to stress. Adrenaline causes direct stimulation of adrenergic receptors. Stimulation of cardiac stimulation receptor causes an increase in heart rate and contractility. To increase myocardial contractility, adrenaline is given by infusion in the range of 0.01 to 0.1 gram per kg per minute. Next is noradrenaline. Like adrenaline, it is a natural compounds, natural occurring catecholamines. It is the chemical neurotransmitter liberated by postganglionic adrenergic neurons. Norepinephrine or noradrenaline is a catecholamine with multiple roles, including as a hormone and a neurotransmitter. Next is isoprenaline. Isoprenaline is a synthetic catecholamine with pure adrenergic receptor activity. Isoprenaline is a potent, non-selective beta adrenergic agonist with low affinity for alpha adrenergic receptor. Isoprenaline acts primarily on the heart and smooth muscle of bronchi, skeletal muscle, vasculative, and the gastrointestinal tract. Now the next drug is dopamine. It is a monoamine. Dopamine is a precursor of adrenaline and a closely related molecule. Noradrenaline. Dopamine is used in the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is believed to be related to low level of dopamine in certain part of the brain. In the brain, dopamine functions as a neurotransmitter, a chemical released by neuron to send signal to other nerve cells. Pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of sympathomimetics. Firstly, pharmacokinetics. Catecholamines are absorbed from the intestine but are rapidly degraded by MAO and COMT present in the intestinal wall and liver. They are thus orally inactive. Adrenaline shows their systemic action at 0.2 to 0.5 milligram subcutaneously. Dopamine raises cardiac output and systolic BP with little effect on diastolic BP. It is administered by intravenous infusion by 0.2 to 1 milligram per minute dose. Ephedrine is effective orally. It is about 100 times less potent than adrenaline but longer acting, that is 4 to 6 hours. Mephentermine is active orally with longer duration of action 2 to 6 hours. It crosses blood-brain barrier to some extent, may produce excitatory effect at higher dose. First of all, pharmacological action of sympathomimetics on the heart. Adrenaline increases heart rate by increasing the slope of slow diastolic depolarization of cells in the SA node. Force of cardiac contraction is increased when BP rises markedly. Reflex bradycardia occur due to stimulation of vagus nerve. Now the effect on the blood vessels, both vasoconstriction and vasodilation can occur depending on the drug and its dose. Vasoconstriction occur through both alpha 1 and alpha 2 receptors. Now the effect on the blood pressure. The effect depend on the amine, its dose and the rate of administration. Noradrenaline cause rise in systolic, diastolic and mean blood pressure. Now the effect on the respiration. Adrenaline and isoprenaline but not noradrenaline are potent bronchodilator. This action is more marked when the bronchial are constricted. Now the effect on the eye. Mydriatics occur due to constriction of radial muscle of iris, but this is minimal after topical application because adrenaline penetrate cornea poorly. Now the effect on the gastrointestinal tract. In isolated preparation of gut, relaxation occur through activation of both alpha and beta receptors. Now the effect on the bladder. Detrusor is relaxed and trigone is constricted. Both action tend to hinder micturition. Now the action on the uterus. Adrenaline can both contract and relax uterine muscle respectively through alpha and beta receptors. Splenic capsule contract by alpha receptor and more RBCs are poured in circulation. This action is not evident in men. Now the action on the skeletal muscles. Neuromuscular transmission is facilitated in contrast to action on autonomic nerve ending. Alpha receptor activation on motor nerve ending augments acetylcholine release. Now the action on the central nervous system. Adrenaline in clinically used dose does not produce any marked CNS effect because of poorly penetration in brain. But restlessness, apprehension and tremor may occur. Decreased sympathetic outflow cause fall in BP and bradycardia. Now the metabolic effect. Adrenaline cause glycogenolysis, hyperglycemia and hyperlactacidemia. Lipolysis cause rise in plasma free fatty acid and calorigenesis. Now the adverse effect and contraindication. Transient restlessness, headache, palpitation, anxiety, tremor and pallor may occur after subcutaneous or intramuscular injection of adrenaline. Marked rise in BP leading to cerebral hemorrhage, ventricular tachycardia or fibrillation, angina, myocardial infarction are the hazards of large doses. Adrenaline is contraindicated in hypertensive, hyperthyroid and angina patient. Adrenaline should not be given during anesthesia with halothane. At last, summary and conclusion. Most autonomic drugs act by modifying impulse transmission at either the peripheral ganglia or the neuroeffector junction. A study of autonomic pharmacology requires a thorough understanding of autonomic neurotransmitters and the steps of the neurohumoral transmission process. In summary, the early evidence supports the assumption that acetylcholine must have an important role at synaptic and neuromuscular junction. Much new and valuable information has been obtained about many pharmacological aspects of the junction. With all these information here, we come to the end of the today's lecture. Do keep in mind what we have discussed today. This is time for your self-study. If you want to learn more for enhancing your knowledge, you may log on to our website, that is www.cec.nic.in for MCQs, quiz and LORs. Till then, keep studying and goodbye.